You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Thank you for joining me here today on this Motivation and Mindset Monday, where I can't wait to get the week started right with you. We are going over today 5 ways to become mentally strong. And the reason why I believe this is so important, and it's something that I try to instill inside of my own daughters and those people that I know and that I care about the most and that I want to spread to as many people as possible, is that being mentally strong is going to be able to get you through the hard times in life. And I don't know anyone that skates through life and escapes all of those hard times. So each one of us will have our own moments. We don't always know when they come, but we do know that they will be there in our future. Now, the nice thing is this: we can, at those moments of our biggest weakness, that we can begin to use a lot of these things we've been practicing in our everyday life. And although it may not make the hardship of that moment that simple, that easy, we will be able to overcome it faster and with greater perspective. And then, as we are hopefully, in the majority of the time, in all of the good times in our life, we are going to be able to enjoy it that much more and create even more of what we want in our lives. So I want to go through 5 specific ways with you today. These 5 ways should be worked on for a lifetime, but the nice thing, as they say, is this, right? The best time to plant that tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. And by using these things in your everyday life, there's no doubt in my mind you will increase your happiness. You will feel more connected with the life that you truly want. And that's because right now we believe that there's this separation from what we don't want in life and what we do want in life. Well, what we want to do is create that life where everything is part of a connectedness, and instead of this balance where it's like, okay, these are things that I don't want to do and these are things that I do want to do, that we enjoy the entire process, that we enjoy the whole journey, and that we begin to look at life in a different light. That's the whole goal, is that we love every moment of our life. That maybe some moments are better than others, but for sure that we are enjoying each moment, that we're giving gratitude, that we're feeling blessed to live here in this time right now. So the very first way out of those 5 ways I want to share with you today, and the first one is this. This is so important. You need to cultivate time by yourself. Or another way to put this is you need to be okay with also being alone by yourself. So I want you to be able to be okay with spending a night alone by yourself. I want you to be okay with sitting down and having lunch, okay, just by yourself, just quiet time, just you. I want you to also be okay with spending a weekend just with you, right? Or taking a trip just with you. And if you're not able to do that, it's okay. Don't jump into the whole weekend by yourself all at once. Try this first, and I'm going to give you the reason why. So the first thing that you could do is simply go out for a walk, get some fresh air, breathe in that air no matter what the season is, be alone by yourself with your thoughts. Your only goal is to start to get comfortable with spending a little bit more time by yourself, to begin to listen to the thoughts in your mind. And we'll talk about judgment in just a moment, but you're not going to judge those thoughts. You're going to allow them to flow. You're not going to try to force them out of your mind. You're simply going to be at one and eventually at peace with yourself. So don't judge every thought that comes into your head. Don't worry about a little bit of anxiety that you might feel of missing out, right? That fear of missing out, that FOMO. And knowing that you are okay just with you. This is going to make you stronger in every single one of your relationships. One is that you're okay just with you. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't need or want to be with your partner, your spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it may be. That's okay as well. You can want to be with them, but you don't need them in that same way. You're independent, which means now the nice thing is this, is that you can interact with them as two individuals who have come together on their own accord because they truly want to be with each other, not because they need to. They don't need to codepend on that other person, that they're okay with themselves. But the same goes really for coworkers. If anything, it would be okay with a spouse or a partner, but certainly not. Like, you cannot derive your self-worth and your sense of worth from whether you go out Friday night with this group of people or whether you're invited to this particular party, whatever it might be. I want you to be okay with you. And in order to become mentally strong, one of the ways that we have to do is be okay with just spending a little bit of time by yourself. First, just go out for that walk. Another day, if you don't typically have lunch by yourself, try a lunch by yourself. It doesn't have to be every day. You don't have to be antisocial if you feel that's how it is to have lunch by yourself. But just spend that moment. What's it like? Listen to those feelings as they begin to come up. It will tell you more about you than you could ever know. Write them down. Journal those feelings. But at the end of the day, whether it's a 20-minute walk or a 30-minute lunch or a night in by yourself on a Friday night, you wake up the next day and you did it. You realize you can actually spend a night, a lunch, or a walk by yourself without noise, without music, without distraction. You could just read a book. You could be alone with your thoughts. You could journal. The things maybe that you've wanted to do for some time, but you've never carved out the time, or you never thought you could, or it was simply too scary, the thought of doing that all alone, all by yourself. It's a great first step that I can't recommend enough. If you can't be okay with just being you, that's the first step to work on, right? You have to understand that you are enough, and that will take some time. But you are enough. And at the end of the day, you're also okay if that person doesn't like you for you, whether it is a coworker, a partner, whoever it might be. You're okay with you. Because if you are doing your best, you are trying your hardest, you are a good person, you're okay with you, and you should be, right? You should be okay with you. The second way is this. Be very careful with outside praise or critique. My third one will follow into this, but my second one is this. Be very careful with the praise just as much as the critique. Now, we'll start with the critique. Let's say that you are like one of our health coaches that we are certifying, or you are someone who's just trying to do good out there and put something out there, and people correct you online, or so they think they correct you, or they say, oh, I don't like the dress you were wearing. I don't like how that person combed their hair, whatever it might be, the craziest things. We know that we shouldn't really take that critique to heart. We can listen to it if we want. If there's any value at all, well, certainly we could say, oh, okay, they're saying that I use too many ums or ahs. Okay, no big deal. I'm going to work on when I'm doing my video or podcast or whatever it might be. I'm going to work on not saying or ah so much. But at the same rate, even if you do, it's no big deal. If the content is there, the content is there. You don't have to be a professional speaker to get yourself out to the world, right? I'm not a professional speaker. I've never done any professional speaking in terms of taking any courses, anything like that. I still get invited to speak at places. I really believe it's the content that you put out to people that matters, right? And that's what I look for as well. A lot of people that I listen to, they're not polished. And that's totally fine with me. Sometimes it's even better because they seem like a real person. So if there's any value to the critique, fine. If people don't like you, or they're just mean for the sake of being mean, and there's a lot of people out there like that it's time to shake that off. That is not anything that you need to be worried about. That's not your problem. Again, what they say about you says more about them than it does about you. If someone is spewing hatred or always talking negatively or trying to tear others down, well, they don't feel that powerful themselves. They're trying to bring you down with how they feel, right, to their level. And you have to understand is the crabs in the bucket will always be there. They're always going to try to pull you back from whatever level they're at, and maybe you're at the same level currently as them. Well, it's time to rise above that. But now as you begin to rise above it, and you start to do pretty well, and people begin to give you praise, whether it's your work or anything that you do in life, whatever it might be, If they begin to give you praise, you also have to be careful of that too. Because if, and I'm going to lead into my next one right here, if you begin to become reliant on external validation, it can be a very scary thing. External validation means that you are not working intrinsically, or you're not intrinsically motivated for what moves you, for what you're passionate about. And that becomes a huge problem whenever the people who praised you turn on you and speak negatively. That tears at you. It's a part of you because you live within that praise as well. And now you're doing things in your life, whether as a parent, a spouse, for work, whatever it might be, even body transformation, you're doing it for someone else's praise because you don't, again, feel worthy enough as a person. What we need to go back with is you're good no matter what. If someone wants to praise you, great. You're not going to rely on that praise. You're doing your best work either way for you. You're doing your best work for you so that when you look back at the end of the day, say that was a good day. But not perfect. Did my best. That was a good day. The end of the week, same thing. The end of the month, same thing. And then at the end of the year, say that was a good year. Not perfect, but that was a good year. I did my best to the best of my ability. And you know what? Next year is going to be even better. Why? I have now 12 more months of life under my belt, 12 more months of learning, of growth. Of course, next year is going to be better. As long as you want next year to be better, you've learned so much over the past 12 months. Of course, it's going to be a whole lot better. That's how we have to think. Now, remember, though, whatever you're going after, whatever goals you set for yourself, because we talk a lot about goal setting on our Motivation and Mindset Mondays, those goals have to be yours. Not your parents, not your siblings, not your friends, not your spouse, not your kids. They're yours. And that's extremely important because if you get run down, if you get tired, it's very difficult to keep going or doing the things that you need to do if they're for someone else. But if it's for you, if it's a part of you, you will. I mean, again, how long did I fail before I got well? 10 years. It should never take anybody that long. But apparently I hadn't learned all the lessons that I needed to learn. Haven't met all the people that I needed to meet. And that was the truth. Finally, I met my mentor. What happened? Well, within 6 months, I got well. What happened in the 10 years before that? Well, it was a whole lot of learning. It wasn't wasted. But it also enabled me to look in every area, under every rock and stone. And then what could I do with that? Well, now I can use it today. And I have a pretty diverse background. And again, that's not from an ego perspective. That's actually from a lot of trials, a lot of tribulations, a lot of trial and error, as they say, right? I had to figure it out. And I tried more things that didn't work than did work. But the next year, I knew much more. And I even knew the new people to reach out to, the different modalities. I didn't learn about Ayurvedic medicine until about 26 years old. How could I have studied Ayurveda in India and in Sri Lanka if I never learned about it in the first place? Well, eventually I learned about it. From the start of learning Ayurveda till actually when I went overseas was about 4 years. It didn't happen overnight. So there was some time. So what I'm saying for you is whatever you're doing right now, whatever goals you set for yourself, not for external validation. A little bit of critique, a little bit of praise, fine, or do what your heart tells you to do what your passion leads you to do, get coaches, keep improving, and don't even worry about the praise or the critique. Don't worry about it at all. Move forward on your mission, whatever that is. The next one is this: don't judge others. If I just said, don't listen to the critique, don't listen to the praise, be careful that you don't do the same to others. Don't put that negativity out there. If you don't want negativity to come back to you, the law of karma, and I do believe in that, if you don't want negativity to come back to you, if you don't want judgment to come back to you, don't judge others. Now, of course, you'll still maybe get some judgment. That's because not everybody's on the same level. If someone is spewing hatred on social media, the truth is this, that they have the ability to, but they are not a very enlightened individual. It doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It doesn't mean that they're not worthy. It doesn't not mean that at all. But I'll tell you this, people that tear others down, they're not good people from a level of enlightenment where you understand that not only does that hurt someone, but it also hurts yourself. It makes no sense. The more you put out into the world, the more comes back to you. And if you want to look at it just from outside of a metaphysical perspective, more like a quantum-based level, let's say that, or not even at a quantum-based level, a psychological level, if you are in a negative mindset, if you're in a hateful mindset, everywhere you look, you will see more negativity and hate. You will see more problems where opportunities exist. You're the type of person who will, let's say, win the lottery or get a raise at work and then just worry more about all the taxes you have to pay, right? Like, we all know those types of people. So what we need to do is realize that we don't want to be a part of that either. We don't want to be a part of that judgment, right? Don't judge, lest you be judged. I couldn't say that I'm a religious person today, but I'm a very spiritual person. And I had many years, 2 decades of religious upbringing. And it's not that I don't believe in religion, because I do, without a doubt. I believe everyone's entitled to practice in religion or practice in spirituality in their own way, however they want to. But at the end of the day, be a good person. That should trump everything else. It really should. You should just shoot for being a good person. Don't judge others. Don't purposely try to hurt others. Build them up. Give them praise. Even though I'm saying for you, don't get all caught up in the praise. A little bit of praise for someone who's just getting going, who needs that boost. Well, that can make their day. It can make their year. Or it could give them that one spark that they needed to keep going forward when they were about to quit. So praise others. For sure do that. For you, I'm saying mentally strong-wise, you won't need it. That's what I'm talking about for you. Who doesn't like to get praise, right? I mean, who doesn't like to hear that they look nice in that outfit, or they look like they've lost weight, or they're in great shape, or they made a smart decision, whatever it might be. Praise is good. We feel good with it. For you, enjoy it, but don't get caught up with it. You don't need it, right? You don't need it. It's nice to have it, but you don't need it. That's what I'm saying. And for you, don't get caught up in the negative cycle. Don't sit there and go back and forth with anybody who makes negative comments to you. Why? It only draws up more negativity in you, and it honestly pulls you away from the day that you're supposed to have, which is a good day, a positive day. So if someone is negative to you, breathe in through those nostrils, right? Breathe in, exhale. Do that 5 times. Nice and slow, right? 5 seconds in, 7 seconds out. Do that 5 times. That's 1 minute. I'm telling you, if you do that, life is good again. All right? Let it go. And also come from the perspective that they are not working on themselves or doing the things that they need to do to have their best life. And you don't want to be in that mud. You really don't. You don't want to play down there. Play at a higher level. Enjoy life to a greater degree. Don't judge them. Doesn't mean they're bad. That's where they are in life. You don't need to be there. You don't need to be in that cycle of hatred or negativity. You don't need to be there, right? Stay on the positive. The last one is this. In order to be mentally strong, we need to focus on only one thing. Because no matter what, I'm going to mess up on all the things that I just spoke to you about, right? Spending time alone. I might feel like, I really should be out. I'm missing things. I should be going to that event, whatever it might be. All right? I need to just relax a minute. Everything's going to be good. I don't need to be anywhere. Or the praise or critique, like, oh, this person said this. That's because they don't get, I would try to rationalize it in a million different ways. Or the praise, I'm like, oh, that makes me feel really good. I should do more of that. No, I should do more of that just because I got praise. Does it line up with my vision for my life? That should be what I move forward with. And then also with the external validation. I can't do things. I can't create a podcast because, that one typically does well when I talk about that. No. What do I feel like I need to give and bring out to the world in my unique way? What is it? That's what I should be focused on. It also is going to inspire me. It's going to give me energy. And then that hopefully will go out and serve the world. The other thing I have to make sure that I do every single day is that I do not judge others. Good, bad, nice, not nice, any of those things. It just is. That's it. It just is. And if someone does something to me that I don't like, I get it. I can understand their perspective. I can understand where they're coming from. I'm just not going to participate in that cycle of negativity. And the last one is this. Because again, we're not going to be perfect. We're not. Next year is going to be a better year for me than it was this year. I've thoroughly enjoyed this year so far. Next year will be better. And here's the reason why, and I live by this. I can mess up as many times as I need to in life, but I need to just continue to make progress forward. And that's all that you need. If you have not achieved your wellness-based goals or your weight loss-based goals, keep on moving forward. It's forward progress. What did you learn from the last diet plan, the last exercise plan, the last coach, the last doctor, the last personal trainer, the last book? What did you learn? Did you learn that going low carb for too long ends up plateauing and then you gain all the way back? Like, what is it? Like, there's something that you learned from that. And that's not a bad thing. Okay? Or that you seem to not do well when you included cheat meal because it sets you up for 2-3 days after that of binge eating of those foods. Or you can't actually look at not having a little bit of your favorite foods on a daily basis because you feel like you're depriving yourself. And then that sets you up for failure. Learn from these things, okay? Journal them. Write them down. You don't need to create a massive journal that you'll never look at again. You can use bullet points. You can use notes. You can use just key takeaways. Things that you know will move you forward in life. And it should always be about progress. There is no doubt in my mind anymore that people will achieve their wellness goal, their body transformation goals, their spirituality goals, their relationship goals, and their career goals. Because all there is a distance between where you are right now and your end goal. And in between that whole distance right there, you can shorten it or you can lengthen it. That's somewhat on you. Is the plan, okay, the experience, the knowledge, which is set in with the plan, and then the interest and willingness to do that work to get to the goal. That's it. That really is it. We can talk about intention, we can talk about mindset, and we have. But there's some space, and you need to collapse that space as quickly as possible. The best way that I've seen to do that is to actually believe you are worthy of achieving that goal. And once you feel that you are, and you can see yourself in that future position, and you bring that future position to the now, well, it can be achieved almost instantly. But the difference is we don't often see ourselves as worthy or able to be in that end goal. We need to strengthen our mind in order to believe that we are worthy of receiving. And the way that we typically do that are hang around other people that have achieved those goals. Like, hey, I could act like that. I could do those things. I could do that work. I could do this. I could do that. Once you start doing that enough, it normalizes it. That's what you need to do. You need to normalize success. Normalize the weight loss plan, the wellness, the relationships, the spirituality. You're just copying it. You are modeling, as we say. It's a nice word for it. We're just modeling it. In the beginning, I say, just copy it. That's it. Copy the blueprint, right? Copy the de-stress protocol if you haven't run a lab, if you haven't done a detox, if you haven't, just copy something, copy it, work the plan, move forward. You'll make a ton of progress. Now, as you're making progress, it gives you small wins. Those small wins help build up more confidence. Well, I'm further ahead than I was last year. If I keep moving at this rate, there's no doubt I'll eventually achieve it. So if you think that no doubt that you'll eventually achieve your goal, well, now collapse that time. If now you already do believe, you finally believe, you've suspended disbelief that you will achieve your end result, now collapse that time. Because that's all you needed to do is believe. You need to actually believe you can achieve it. Once you do that, put the plans in motion. That's it. Forward progress. Move forward. Forget about perfection. You will make errors. And the reason is you've never done this before. If you'd already done it, you could just copy the previous plan that you had done. This is new territory, right? You're chartering new territory. Well, whenever we do that, whenever we set out on new adventure, there'll be a couple missteps. No big deal. If you already know that ahead of time, no big deal. You just pick right up, move forward, okay? Slight step. What happens at the end of that day? Wasn't a failure. I learned one more way that this wasn't going to work. Now I'm not going to make that mistake again. As I've said before, there are only so many ways that you can do things incorrectly. That's the truth. Before you find the way that is correct. There are only so many ways. You can't try a million different ways to lose weight. You can only try about 12. I mean, for most things, it's only about between 6 and 12. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, autoimmune, weight loss. There's only so many things, and then it's just the timeline. That's it. You still have to work the timeline. Again, some people will shorten that timeline. Some others will be a little bit longer. Depends on how much work they need to do on themselves to get there. But that's the nice thing. That's what life's about, right? That is what life's about. You wouldn't be doing anything else with your time. Set goals. Make them worthy of you. Make them things that you'd be happy to work on anyway. That's going to make you a better person. And then work the process. You need to feel you are worth it. Set the goals. You're worth it. You deserve it. Once you begin to believe that at a deeper level and work these 5 ways of becoming mentally stronger, there is no doubt in my mind you will receive what you set out to achieve. Thank you so much for tuning into today's Cabral Concept. I appreciate you as always. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. And if this show was helpful, please do feel free to pass along to anyone else you believe it could serve. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp parts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stephencabral.com/resources.